And we are live. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Hope everyone has had a very, very good day. So let's get into the Manchester United news. There's some stuff we do want to go through on tonight's show. We want to talk about it in some detail. And look, first and foremost, this is a story that has been going on for the best part of 3 or 4 months at this point. It's Jadon Sancho. Look, we're all pretty fed up with talking about Sancho. I think we've all kind of got to that point now where we're thinking, when is this going to end? But with this January transfer window coming up, there is increasing reports and coming in from more reliable sources that first of all, we're going to try to get rid of Sancho in this window. Now, I think this was expected. I think this was always going to happen, really. But I think the interesting thing is that today there's starting to be some reports coming out basically stating if Manchester United fail to find a buyer, if we fail to find a way to get Sancho out of the club, nothing will be off limits, and there is a possibility that the club might even look at releasing the guy from his contract. Now, do I think we're going to do this? I don't know. I mean, it would be one hell of a lesson. It could be a hell of a way for Ratcliffe and for the guys coming in to take charge of the football club to really stamp their authority on the club. And what's that going to do to player power? Now, player power at this club has been a toxic influence for many, 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 many years. And you have to think, if we do get to a situation where Jadon Sancho is being released from his contract because of his behaviour and what he's done on and off the pitch, then you have to think a lot of these players are going to look at it and go like, am I really going to down tools? Because there might actually be consequences for once. There might actually be a receiving end. There might actually be meaning behind what you do on and off the pitch. Mostly, look, as we know, it's been the players getting away with it for a very, very long time. And look, we've been saying this as well. One of the big issues at this club has been the environment. It has been the dressing room. It has been the players who have down tools for a lot of managers. If this genuinely happens, I think this is absolutely unbelievable. Personally, I can't see it happening because I think they'll take a look at it. I think they'll look at Sancho's contract worth. I think they'll look at him as a player and they'll probably try to move him on. But it is interesting that we're starting to see these stories crop up. It is interesting that we're starting to see this kind of dialogue going on, because for very, very, very long time at this club, this was completely unthinkable, unheard of. And you have to say, like, if there is actually a bit of accountability, responsibility at the club, what's that going to do to player power? What's that going to do to these players who have down tools and have refused to work for managers, refused to train for managers, quitting on the pitch, quitting off the pitch? What is that going to do to the dressing room leaks? What is that going to do to all these issues that we have had over this last 10 years or so with players running the football club, certainly within anyway, certainly within the dressing room? It hasn't been the manager for a long, long time. So that for me is going to be an interesting one as well. Look, guys, let me know your thoughts down below. I'm running a poll in the comments. We've done this before, so we'll do it again. What would you guys do with Jadon Sancho? What would be your plan? Would you guys keep him, sell him, release him, or are you not quite sure what the best course of action is? Are you not quite sure what the best road to go down is? Now, look, ultimately, I think this is a long shot. I think personally we'll see Sancho sold. I think someone's going to take a chance on him. Look, the guy's still 22, 23. There's a lot of untapped potential there. We've all known there's been one hell of a player there. Now, whether or not that ever comes to fruition, whether or not that ever actually turns into anything in terms of an actual top quality player on the pitch, you know, those are different questions altogether. But someone somewhere is going to take a chance on Jadon Sancho. It has to be. And look, this story's coming in from Melissa Reddy of Sky Sports News. Fairly reliable, if we're being honest, but I think this is interesting because it came as part of a story that's talking about a culture-focused decision-making process internally, and I think that's really important. And it's something as well we had been calling for a long, long time, is a change in the club culture, a change in what we do and how we run and what the vibe of Manchester United is. And all these things are so important. Melissa Reddy has said Manchester United want to be more culture-focused in their decision-making, noting Arsenal as an example where cutting ties with players instead of trying to hold out for a big transfer fee can help reshape a squad and create an environment of excellence. I think that's important. Look, we're not a good selling club by any stretch of the imagination. We are not a club who gets big transfer fees. We are not a club who can go out there and really get a top quality deal done in terms of sales. We've known this for a long, long time. Do we hold on to these players in the hope that they might change their mind? Because we're still waiting on the apology from Sancho. We still haven't got any official apology, any sort of recognition of what he did was wrong. He still thinks he's in the right, which is very concerning. And the reports that have been coming out for a very long time now are all basically saying that Sancho thinks of himself as going to outlast the manager. Sancho thinks if he can outlast Ten Hag, he'll get back into the team. New manager will come in, they'll give him a chance, and he can work hard then. I think these are important battles that the club do need to fight, certainly within the dressing room. Now, look, there's a whole raft of other issues upstairs. We know this already, and ultimately it's those decisions and those problems upstairs that have filtered down into the management, into the playing staff, and has basically infected every single aspect of this football club throughout the last 10 years. But certainly culture changes are very important, and culture changes will be absolutely essential moving forward for Manchester United, and everything we want to do and everything we want to achieve in the next couple of years under this new ownership coming in, under this new direction, under this new beginning. Culture change is really important from the top to the bottom. It has to be about winning. It has to be about excellence. It has to be about work rate. It can't be about me. It can't be selfishness. It can't be donning tools. It can't be refusing to apologise to the manager or to the club for something that you have done that's probably wrong. And look, I've always maintained that opinion as well. But look, United considering cutting ties with Sancho certainly is an interesting one as well. Just in terms of that poll, 20% would keep, 20% would sell, 40% would release actually, and 20% are unsure of what they would do with Jadon Sancho moving forward. Look, it is going to be an interesting one. This will be an opportunity for the likes of Ineos and the likes of Ratcliffe, whoever comes in, Blanca CEO, if it's going to be Dan Ashworth, if it's going to be Paul Mitchell, if it's whoever it's going to be. This is an opportunity for them basically to come in and set an example of an established player, of a player who has down tools and has refused to apologise to the manager, apologise to the club for what they put out there. So I think it's important that they're going to do that. I think they'll want to do it. Melissa Reddy also said United will be implementing a more ruthless approach to the process over player contracts in an attempt to prioritise the right culture recruitment strategy over business interests. Again, that's another big one for me. I think certainly in the last couple of years, we really have seen a lot of players just given contracts for no apparent reason, no real reason whatsoever. Now, it's not as bad as what it once was. I think, admittedly, under Woodward, it was worse when we give Phil Jones, Chris Smalling, Ashley Young and the likes new contracts, but we still have been handing contracts out fairly overhand as well in the last couple of years, and I think a better approach to that is needed. Obviously, look, FFP is a big issue at the club at the minute. We've been losing money for the last couple of years. That's affecting transfer budgets. That's going to have to be improved. That's going to have to be corrected somehow across the rest over the next couple of years. All that does need to be corrected. I've got some guys in the comments. Let me see who we've got down below. I've got Jarl. I think the club actually has grounds to terminate Sancho's contract. He decided not to train with the youth team, which means he is actually in breach of his contract and not doing what he's told. I mean, you could argue that. Look, I mean, I'm not an employment lawyer. I'm not overly familiar with that type of stuff, but certainly, look, if they sacked him and terminated the contract without just cause, yes, there would be a lawsuit there. If they think they have valid cause, they might have done it already. I'm not sure. Look, I think January's going to be a very interesting time. The reason I say that is because I think they're going to try to sell him. I think they're going to try to move him on. I think that will be their big plan. Certainly Ineos, certainly Manchester United as a whole. I think that will be the plan that they will implement going forward. And if they can get a good price for him, yeah, look, that's probably a smart idea. Chat Sport says, Kimmich swap with Sancho. I mean, look, all the talk about swaps at the minute, I think the main one seems to be Rafinha, with Sancho going to Barcelona in his place. I don't know. Like, I really, I don't know. Maybe we're safe for selling these players. I feel like it's all very sudden. It is really sudden. And look, if we sold Sancho in January, didn't buy again until summer, it's probably not much of a loss at this moment in time. It's probably not going to hinder us too much at this moment. So, I don't know. Do we keep that money and give it to a proper scouting team who might come in and do a lot of work between now and the summer transfer window? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the plan will be. But in the same article, With more ruthless approaches to player contracts and outgoing being part of Ineos' plan, United will be more willing to terminate contracts if necessary. Discussions over that approach have taken place regarding Jadon Sancho already. I said it before, look, that's going to be the first thing that's going to get sorted, and what happens there is going to be really, really interesting. Passport said Kimmich wants to leave. I mean, look, I think Kimmich's a great player. I really do. Will he come to United? I don't know if that fits what he wants right now. I mean, he could end up at Barcelona. He could end up at Real Madrid. He could end up anywhere. Like Man City might fancy him. I don't know. I don't know if he would go for the project club in United. But look, in terms of transfer stuff, there is some news coming out, and it's probably just because we're getting closer to January. It's probably just because we're moving towards that direction. And with Ineos coming in, these are easy stories to put out there. But I do think they'll definitely have been taking a look, and they'll definitely have been formulating their plans really throughout the last couple of weeks and months. So first and foremost, Ten Hag would like to keep both Casemiro and Rafael Varane past January transfer window. In the situation that they will force a move, Ten Hag will want replacement players signed. I'm not too sure about Varane and Casemiro. Look, there was talk about it in the summer. There's been talk about both players' form. There's been issues on and off the pitch with both players this year. I think they both see out the end of the year. I don't think Rafa Varane will be here next season. I would be surprised if Casemiro is, because I think we might try to move on to different players. And some of these player transfer talks that we are looking at, we are certainly looking at players in that kind of position who might come in as more long-term replacements. Amadou Onana is one from Everton. Vifer from, I think he's playing for Feyenoord, might be another one as well that we're potentially looking at. There's Joe Bellingham. These are all players who United in the last couple of days are being linked to by some more reliable sources. So I'm not 100% sure on that one. Look, centre-back's another problem area. I think we needed one in the summer. We didn't end up buying any, and ultimately, look, it's cost us points this season. I think worryingly, Tottenham Hotspur have open talks with Jean-Claude Todibo as well, so that's an interesting one. I don't know what's going to be happening in regards to that there as well. I think Todibo is a good player, but he's not the be-all and end-all of the centre-backs. There's a lot of very good right-sided centre-backs out there. There's a lot of players that I would probably put as higher. I would prefer to Todibo in some ways, be it their potential, be it their ability now. I think there's other players out there, and I don't think Todibo would be as big a loss. I think Kim Min-jae was a real big loss because we should have got him in the summer. We really should have got Kim in the summer, but we didn't. Mike Keegan has said there's still hope there will be an official announcement on Sir Jim this week. However, if it's not done on Friday, it will be done into the new year. Look, I don't know what's happening with that takeover. I've been expecting it from a very long time, but I don't know. I think mostly that's just come down to legalities and stuff. It's a complicated deal. There's a lot of processes need to go on. There's been a lot of breaks, and that Thanksgiving breaks, of course, have been in there now. Christmas break coming up. So certainly, look, I think we need a couple of players coming in. I think we need to get this takeover done. And I think Vifer and I think Amadou Onana are two really interesting players. And I think that kind of replaces Casemiro within the squad. I think that kind of fulfills that profile of player that we do need. Another player we are looking at as well is Lenny Yoro, currently playing for Lille. Very, very highly rated young centre-back. Could be a really good option. Would probably be cheaper than the likes of Antonio Silva, Diamond, who we also have been linked to. But certainly, these seem to be positions we're looking at, certainly in the middle of the pitch, right down the span of the team. Strikers, midfielders, centre-backs. That seems to be the plan of action at this moment in time. Look, there's some interesting ones out there. I genuinely think we might have stumbled across an absolute gem in Kobbie Mainoo as well. And I think he is really going to affect for further and future transfer plans. Look, I've been talking about Kobbie for a long, long time. And I have always had the thought that once he got into the team, he wouldn't be leaving the team. That certainly does seem to be the case. So I think we've got to build a midfield around him. I think we've got to be preparing for him to be that guy in the middle of the pitch. And that's why I think an Onana or I think a Vifer are the type of players we need to bring in. Someone to sit behind him, let him play in that number 8 position. That's his best position. Get him in there and just watch what he does. And as he improves, obviously. Jarl is saying takeover is mostly done, but it's just lawyers' hands. It takes a while to finish. PSG sold a stake in the club, and it took them a full year from accepting until it was finished. Yeah, look, I don't think it's going to take a full year. I would be surprised if it did. I think we're probably talking in the next couple of weeks, really. And I know we've been saying the next couple of weeks, next week, next month, for a very long time. And I know that's really frustrating to a lot of people. And look, it's very frustrating to me as well. You know, it certainly is. But I don't know. I think it gets done at some point. There's no risk with it. It's not in danger. There's no real massive concern there whatsoever. If we're talking about it, I think in regards to other stories coming out today, there's not a lot I would really look at. Of course, the big one, and it's pretty much confirmed, is Donny van de Beek going to Frankfurt at this point. Did a medical today. Yeah, look, I mean, it is what it is. Donny van de Beek's another player, you know, signed with a lot of promise and a lot of potential, and it just never, ever really delivered. Ultimately, I don't know what the plan was. I don't know why we signed Donny in the first place. It does seem like a club signing. It does seem like he was flavour of the month in Europe at the time, because we basically brought a player to come in and try to take the position of Bruno Fernandes in the team when Bruno was playing in some of his best form for Manchester United in the exact same position, and surprised when it didn't work, and then ultimately never got running the team. It's a strange coincidence. It's a strange transfer, and it's a strange way it played out. But Van de Beek will be going. That's probably going to be about 10 million if they take up the buy option. But it all depends on that as well. All depends on that buy option as well. So Donny's got to go to Bundesliga. It might suit him. It might suit his skill set, and I think that might help him. Maybe help us, and we can move him on in the summer. And I think that probably gives us some additional funds going into next summer as well. I think I do want to talk really quickly about some of Sir Jim's plans. I think we've been looking a lot at Dan Ashworth from Newcastle United. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, he was director of football at Brighton, then he went to Newcastle. 2 very good jobs he's done, and now he's been talked about as coming into United, and I think that's a very exciting prospect. I think Ashworth comes in and he gets the highest standards from these guys. I think he really demands better. I think he runs the structure. I think he's more of a figurehead. I think you probably look at someone like a Paul Mitchell to come in alongside that as a recruitment specialist, and that could be your type of that could be your 2 head men in that there regards. Really, you got Blanc ahead of them, of course, as well. But look, certainly Dan Ashworth, really interesting guy, really good jobs he's done as well. Stephanie, good to see you. Thanks for hopping on in. But yeah, look, these are some interesting potential talks. But look, what I will say about this is these guys are only going to be as effective as what we let them be. We can bring Ashworth in, we can bring Paul Mitchell in, we can bring Dougie Freedman in, we can bring Blanc in, and it might not make a difference if they can't come in with any real power and have any real say over what happens, have any real control or ability to change things. Then all of a sudden you're asking questions about why did we bring them in the first place, and I think that's absolutely key. If they come in and they're allowed to do what they can do and give them the free rein to do so, you know, then you're talking about a more exciting future as well. And going from the likes of Arnold and Murda and running the show to Dan Ashworth to Paul Mitchell, I mean, like, it is a serious upgrade in that regard. I think another interesting one is going to be Dave Brailsford. I mean, that's going to be all about the marginal gains. It's going to be about improving every little thing that we can do. If we can make the club 1% better in every respect, then it gets a lot better. That's kind of what he's going to be looking to do, trying to maximize the efficiency and all that there sort of stuff. So look, it is interesting. Some of the plans are definitely going to be interesting to see how they play out. I mean, I think we've spoke a lot about false dawns, about new beginnings, big beginnings of the end. We spoke a lot about a lot of that stuff, and we probably keep on will, but I do feel like this might be more of a change than we've seen before. I think genuinely it's always been either the manager or it's been the players who have been swapped and changed, chopped and changed, sacked, brought in, whatever. it's never really been the guys at the top. So hopefully this can make some kind of a difference overall. Look, I think we're always going to be struggling, and I think we always will be limited until the Glazer family are long gone from the club. But I do think, certainly for me, it's a case that, yeah, these might it might be more of a new beginning than what we've had before. That's my hope. That's my expectation. Whether it turns out to be true or not, I guess we're going to find out. Big ups to Stephanie as well. Big ups for 11 likes. Yeah, big ups on the likes as well, guys, because it says here we've only had 20 people in the stream as well, so that's good going. Stephanie goes, in any other walk of life, employees that don't work don't get paid. Absolute madness. Yeah, look, I mean, if I didn't go into work, if I was suspended pending an apology and I never apologized, then I would probably get sacked. I would probably lose my job. So, that's kind of what we're talking about here as well. So, like, the Sancho one is interesting. Whether we support termination, whether we support a sale, whether we support him coming back into the fold, I don't know. I don't know what the plan is going to be, and ultimately I think it's going to be an important test. I mean, if Ratcliffe walks in with the Ineos group and they decide that Sancho's going to stay and they're going to bring him back in, then that's probably going to be the end of Erik ten Hag, because I don't think he's got any credibility there. They might share his opinion that he has to apologise. They might want to get rid of him on day one. I think a lot of that's going to depend, and it will be a really interesting couple of weeks ahead of us. Look, do I think we're going to outright sack the guy? I don't know. I think we're definitely going to try and move him on. I think that has to be plan one. I think that has to be what they're going to do, because you're still talking about a valuable asset there. You're still talking about a player who can do things on the pitch, do things off the pitch, and that might be something that can help us with the FFP problems we've got. Those might be things we can help in terms of the overall issues at the club. I don't know, but certainly I think sell. If we can't sell, loan to buy. If we can't do that, then I guess you're looking, maybe do you just outright sack the guy? Like, what is going to be the plan there? Because there's going to be a couple of players like that. I think Greenwood's going to be another one that big decisions have to be made on. Look, he's seemingly finding his feet in the Spanish league. What's going to happen there is going to be very interesting as well. Ultimately, that lost Richard Arnold a lot of support within the club, his handling of that entire situation. So it is going to be an interesting one for sure. Jarl says Sancho did a stupid thing by not coming and training with the youth team. He can be in big trouble for not turning up. Absolutely. Stephanie goes, glad you have the guys to put the world right. Still pitied. But yeah, look, I mean, certainly for me, I think the Sancho situation is going to be resolved pretty soon as well. I'm pretty excited about this year's story as well. I want to go through it really quickly. So, Manchester United have shown an interest in Everton midfielder Amadou Onana, and Everton are asking for 55 to 60 million. Onana could leave in January or the summer. Barcelona have already held meetings with the player's entourage. I mean, I think this is the kind of player we need. I think we lack a lot of physicality in the middle of the pitch, and what physicality we do have, I think they don't have any ability. I think maybe you're looking at McTominay, and that's probably about it. But I don't know. I've had long problems with McTominay's overall ability in terms of what he does on the ball for a very long time. I do think as well, like, and I said it maybe 5 or 10 minutes ago. I think one of the big things we've learned this season, one of the big lessons that we can come away, is Kobbie Mainoo is going to be an absolute superstar for this football club. And I think you're getting to the point where you might build the future of the team and the future of that midfield around Kobbie Mainoo himself, where you might build it around trying to get the very best out of him, because there's a genuine special talent in there. So that's why I think you look at an Onana or you look at a Viper and you put them in behind Kobbie Mainoo. You try to get Mainoo up that pitch and you try to get him into that kind of number 8 box-to-box type role that we know he can do really well, and that seemingly suits his game really well. And that's a really secure pivot you got. That's a really secure foundation for your midfield. And then you can put a more attacking option ahead of that. That's what I think proper midfield balance would look like at this club, and that's what I think we've got to be doing, and I think we need to be looking at doing that, and the sooner the better, in my opinion. Really, it does. Stephanie goes, Onana looks a beast and will be a great number 6. Or is he in a number 8 plus Mainoo? I think you probably play Onana slightly behind Mainoo. I think at the minute Onana's game isn't quite a number 6. I think your two main options are Onana or you got Viper, and I think Viper is a number 6 through and through. I think Onana, he's got all the makings of it. I think he's got to be kind of coached into it a little bit as well. So that's going to be something to decide. But look, I mean, you could have a pivot, you could have one sit, one go at a time, and that could be your options there. You know, it's a really good physical midfield that would protect the back line a lot, and I think it gives us some actual strength and speed in there, because our midfield, it's been overrun a lot by by worse midfields as well. I think that's a concern. You know, like I've watched United fail to contain Wolves midfield of like Mario Lemina. We're talking players like this. I mean, Bournemouth ran through us in midfield with Solanke and the like. So, sorry, well, not Solanke, sorry, Philip Billing. So, you know, that's kind of what we're talking about here. I think this team does need speed. I think it needs pace. I think it needs power, and I think it needs some actual physical ability as well, because we do look soft at times. And it's about how we correct that. It's about how we move on with that, get players in who are physical and strong and still really good in the ball. I think we got a mix of players at the minute. You know, we got the likes of Christian Eriksen, we got the likes of Bruno, who are maybe good in the ball but not particularly physical. You got players like McTominay in there who more physical but not good in the ball. It would be nice to have a mixture of both. It would be nice to have someone who can pass the ball, do bits with it, and still defend, still run, still win tackles. Very, very little players like that in our team as well. I think that's one of my big concerns moving forward. Certainly at the weekend as well, going up against West Ham. Stephanie goes, what changes will we make for the West Ham game, apart from Wan-Bissaka and Bruno returning? I think we've got to look at a couple. I think we need to look at a couple of changes. I think when we look at that Liverpool match, look, I think we played quite well, all things considered, with the amount of injuries, how bad we've been all season, how bad we've been going away to big six clubs, and how good Liverpool have been at times. But, you know, certainly there will have to be change. Look, Wan-Bissaka will come in at right back, because Delo got maybe the most ridiculous sending off I've ever seen, but I think he got other options in there as well. I would expect to see Harry Maguire back. I think Maguire comes in probably for Johnny Evans. I think Luke Shaw will continue, Onana will continue. It depends on what Ten Hag wants to do. For me, I would put Bruno in for McTominay, and I would keep Amrabat, and I would keep Kobbie Mainoo in there. And then what I would look to do would be probably put Rashford back in. I think put Rashford in either on the left or on the right, and that could probably be my game plan for that there one. And look, the reason why I said that I put Rashford back in is because of Højlund. And I was looking at it earlier, and it genuinely I could not believe I couldn't believe some of the actual stats with it as well. I could not believe how bad we've been at getting the ball to Højlund. So between Garnacho and Antony in the last 7 matches, 7 full 90-minute matches, they passed the ball to Højlund a combined 10 times in 7 matches. There is absolutely no service there. There is absolutely nothing there whatsoever, and that's why I think we got to put. I think we got to get Rashford into the team. Look, as questionable as he has been at times, at least he does get his head up and find out. He does try to find passes. Yeah, I have it here as well. Garnacho and Antony have passed to Højlund a combined 10 times in 7.5 hours of football. That's combined. That's not each. So we're asking about why we're asking about why Højlund's not getting goals. He's had on average 1 pass, maybe 1.5 passes for every hour of football that he's played in the last 7 matches. So this is probably why the guy's not getting goals. Like, we say he doesn't touch the ball, he literally doesn't either. Stephanie says, forgot about Maguire. Yep, keep Evans maybe for Villa at home. Maybe that could be the plan. I think we got to go physical in both matches, and especially against West Ham. I think they'll try to go quite physical. I think Luke Shaw is going to have a hard match in this one. Probably going to go up against Kudus in that their left hand side. Their right hand side, that's going to be an interesting battle for sure. West Ham, obviously, their forms kind of improved. They're kicking off pretty soon against Liverpool. Will this hinder them? I don't know. Hopefully, because it's very rare that we get a week's rest going into the Christmas period. So a week off is going to be very good for United. So that's hopefully going to help us in terms of our fitness. Hopefully we can be fit and ready to play against them. West Ham last match, they won 3-0. Pretty impressive. Chessport said Bruno carrying an injury. I think he has been carrying a slight knock, but it's whether or not it is also Bruno Fernandes we're talking about, a player who can just seemingly be bulletproof and just always be available as well, unless it's for suspension. But look, that West Ham team, they're coming into a little bit of form. There's still some danger men out there. Ward-Prowse is going to be dangerous. As you know, Onana struggled really with those Hakim Ziyech free kicks, so I worry if Ward-Prowse gets anything around the box. Kudus, really good form. Paquetá in there. Bowen played really well this season. So look, they're going to be dangerous. They're going to be physical. They're going to be strong. I want to see us pack out that midfield. I want to see us go like we did at Anfield, in a pivot with Mainu and Amrabat holding. And if Bruno's fit, put him ahead. If Bruno's not, then maybe keep McTominay in there for another match, because we're very limited in terms of forward options in the midfield. There's no Eriksen, there's no Mount, there might not be a Bruno, and you have Van de Beek, so very, very limited, unless we're going to play Hannibal, which I would be really surprised about as well at this rate. What have we got in the poll? 15 votes, 33 say keep, 27 says sell, 27 are release, and 13 are unsure. Chessport said McTominay was also handed the armband. He was. Stephanie says Anthony occasionally played left for Ajax. Can't understand why Ten Hag doesn't give him time with Garnacho or Rashi. No inverted wingers equals better service for Højlund. I mean, you have to think so. I think something's got to change. Like, we've always had this like perception that Højlund doesn't get the ball, and I think it's actually worse than what we think as well. For Højlund to have received 10 passes from the left and right winger in the last 7 straight Premier League matches, that's just absolutely appalling. Like, he's receiving on average a pass every 66 minutes from both wide men. Like that you wonder why the guy's not scoring goals. You wonder why he can't get into matches. He literally gets no service, and I just can't understand why. I think most of the balls he's receiving are coming in from centre backs. They're long balls he's having to try fight for and hold up. So I want to see him more involved. I want to see him get back into some kind of form. I want to see him look confident and actually do bits on the pitch as well. Something he hasn't been able to do for a really, really long time. So I don't know. I don't know how we try to play him in. Do we put Rashford back in? Do we try to create more through that there? Do we try to play direct to Højlund? Do we keep it on the ground? I think a lot of questions have to be answered. Look, is the guy 100% ready to play this level of football week in, week out for the guy for United? Maybe not. Maybe it wasn't fair for him to be the only striker signing. I don't think Ten Hag wanted him to be the only guy either. I think we definitely wanted a second striker in the summer. We didn't get it in the end. But I don't know. Again, issues came down to it. Let me just quickly check as well. There was something that just kind of flashed up there a second. Let me just double check that. Any more thoughts, guys? Make sure to drop them in down below. And what are you guys thinking about Sancho? I think most people are pretty much at their wits' end with this situation. I think a lot of people are really feeling like they're just not they're not on board with it anymore. They're not for it, and I completely understand why. I really, really, really do. It's been a long running one, and I think we've been going at this since what, like September, very, very start of September. So it's been a really, really long process, and the stalemate continues. The stalemate goes on and on and on. Stephanie goes, Højlund hampered by a dislike goal by Brighton. Yeah, look, that would have been a good confidence builder for him as well. Again, it was actually Rashford who set it up as well. And seemingly the goals that Højlund has got, a lot of them do seem to be coming from Marcus Rashford as well. And the passes and the touches that he is getting in and around the box as well, a lot of those are coming from Rashford. They're not coming from Garnacho. They're not coming from Antony. Certainly not coming from Bruno Fernandes at the minute as well. Just in other news as well, Dan Ashworth being tipped to be the next director of football. It's a really interesting one. He's done a brilliant job at Brighton, brilliant job at Newcastle. Really, really, really top level recruitment there. And it's the kind of stuff you want to see. Like, it really, really is. We've said for a long time at this club, in the last 10 years, players have changed a lot. We've brought so many different players in now. We have brought so many managers in now. I think genuinely, if you're talking about change at the top down, I think that's going to be the most important thing. Changing the actual story, changing the actual culture of the club. It's certainly something we've needed for a long time. Stephanie says, Sancho situation disrupting Rashford, or is he doing that himself? Look, I don't know what the problem is with Rashford's own form. Certainly in terms of what he's been doing on the pitch, really frustrating. Is he finding Højlund some? Yeah, he is. But, you know, you're looking at a chronic lack of goals. You're looking at a chronic lack of good performances. He just looks so uninterested at times, and he's throwing his hands up, pulling out of tackles. I don't know what the issue is with Rashford. I really, really don't. I don't know how we fix it either. You know, he had a really good year last year. Really, really top-level season. Kept us in the top 4 race. Won us a trophy with those goals. And this season he just looks so tired and so done. I don't know what the problem is. And you know, the question is, can Rashford really sustain these good seasons? Does he have one good season, one bad season? Is that going to be the trajectory of his career? Because we need more consistency out of him, because we're not getting it from Garnacho, and we're not getting it from Antony or from Pellistri. So certainly, look, I think Rashford's got to step up. He really, really does. And I think there's going to be opportunities for others. I really do. I think Amad Diallo is going to have a big opportunity when he gets back in. I think looking ahead and looking at the players around him on that right-hand side, for instance, Antony not playing well, has 1 assist in 25 matches, no goals in his last 25. Sancho, probably never going to kick a ball for the club again. Then you've got Pellistri, who's not really took his opportunities, hasn't looked anything special. if we're being truthful with ourselves, really hasn't looked anything particularly special in terms of what he's done on the pitch this season. So like the likes of Amad Diallo is certainly going to have a lot of opportunities when they come into the team, and they're certainly going to have chances to make a name for themselves, and they're going to have chances to work their way into that first team. I think at the minute, look, this club's been on its knees all season long looking performances, and anyone who has put in half decent performances have stayed around the team. Kobbie Mainoo has found himself as a first-team player already. He's probably going to stay in the first-team squad for the rest of the season. He's probably a first-team player now. And look, he has only came in his first match against Everton away. Stephanie says, can't believe Martial is still only 27. Yeah, look, I genuinely can't believe that either, Stephanie. I saw a thing earlier today. It was like Anthony Martial is 27, then it's saying that Mbappe is 25. Now I'm like, Mbappe, I could have sworn the guy was younger. I could have sworn Anthony Martial would be coming up on like 30 or something now, but he still should be in the prime of his career. Ashid is down there. Good evening to you, Ashid. Thanks for hopping on in here, man. Much appreciated. Yeah, but look, it's been a fairly quiet stream as well. Look, I mean, we've had issues with months with YouTube, and they're still not being overly helpful. But sure, it is what it is. Just in terms of that poll, I think it's really very split. A lot of people unsure. Do we keep? Do we sell? Do we release? If you guys haven't voted already, make sure to drop a vote on that one. I'm interested to know all your opinions, because I think, look, it's really interesting, and it's really easy to turn around and say out of frustration, let's sack the guy, let's just terminate his contract, get him out of the club. But you're looking at a really potentially valuable player there, going for free, going for nothing, when we need funds, when we need to sell. Now, do any clubs pay top money for Sancho? Do we think we'll even get half of what we paid for him? Do we get 35 million? I mean, I would be surprised at this rate going. I mean, clubs will look at it and say, look, the guy has no interest in playing for you. You can't really sit and tell us that he's going to be a big part of your future plans, or that you don't want to sell him. I think that's interesting. I really can't remember a situation like this with players going on strike at United, or players just not being able to be selected, being isolated and being kicked out, basically, of the entire football club. He's there in name only. He is picking up his wages every month, and I think that I think that's an interesting one as well. Look, there's technically nothing stopping Jadon Sancho doing what Gareth Bale did at Real Madrid. You know, he's so long as he turns up to training, does everything he's told, and doesn't breach the contract, then he can sit here indefinitely until the contract expires if he really wants to. Now, if he has broke it, then you got a different story altogether. Chatsport said 25 million for Sancho. I mean, I think that's just so frustrating as well, man. You know, we chased after this guy for two full summers, and eventually we got him for what, like 70, 75 million, and we might get a third of that back at best. I mean, that is Manchester United in a nutshell in the last 10 years, certainly with this ownership, with this direction of the club. And the annoying thing is I tend to agree. Like, I really do. I can't see anybody paying top money for him. I think the only potential club that might spend a lot of money would be if Chelsea decided that they wanted him and Todd Bowley decides to go and just spend millions and millions on him. If Todd Bowley just goes, here's 50, 60 million, we'll amortize the deal and spread it out. I mean, that's the only thing. And even then, would we sell him directly to a competing club? Is that something we would be interested in doing? I don't know. I really don't know. If you guys haven't already, make sure you're voting on the poll. Let me know what you guys would do with Sancho. I think keep is 38% at the minute, but between sell and release, so basically get rid of the guy, we're looking at 25 and 25, so we're looking at 50%. So the majority of people are saying that they don't want him at the club in some shape or another. They do want to get rid of the guy as well. So that could be something that we see. That could be something that happens. I'm not 100% sure. It's gonna be an interesting one anyway. Like what happens here, I think, is gonna really set the tone of the upcoming eras. Now McCabe says just him long enough, and he's done out for us. And then the circus with him this season after Ten Hag already gave him a mental health break last year. Get rid of ASAP for free if necessary. Fair enough, man. Look, I mean, I can't disagree. I really can't. I mean, you know it yourself. If you went to work and you were suspended pending an apology or for whatever reason and you didn't do it and you just refused to do it, you probably would find yourself you'd probably find yourself isolated. You'd probably find yourself fired at some point. Get the sack. Nago's frustration losing money, but in the long run, it'll be saved on wages alone. I think, yeah, I think when you're talking about 350,000 a week, I mean, you're talking crazy money. Like, you're talking genuinely so much every single week. And what we have been doing recently is really cutting down on top earners. You know, De Gea's gone. Ronaldo is gone. We're probably looking at Sancho going. Martial definitely going to go. Those are all big earners. I think Varane will go. I think Casemiro will go. Those are all massive earners who are really taking up a lot of the wage book as well. I think you still got questions over the likes of Marcus Rashford. I think you got questions over Harry Maguire, their long-term futures. I still don't think, even though he's played well recently, and even though he has been important for us, I still don't think Maguire is a player that's going to be here long-term. I don't think that's going to be a long-term player at this club. I don't think we're going to be building the squad around him. We're not going to be building the backline around him. And you know, he still is on a lot of money, and he's still got a decent length to go in his contract. So I can only see Harry Maguire going as well. I think there's different options. There's a couple of players in the club. I've said it before. I would build around. I'd probably build around Manu. I'd probably build around Martinez, Luke Shaw, Højlund, Garnacho. There's question marks over Rashford, Anthony. I just can't see that working out either. Bruno Fernandes coming up in 30 pretty soon. Is that going to be the long-term plan? Is that going to be the long-term play? What's going to happen in regards to him? So yeah, look, I mean, there's a couple of players I probably would build around. Stephanie says, vote, like, and subscribe. Thanks very much. Daniel, good to see you. And Stephanie says, question, if Sancho had a career-ending injury, are United insured for that? Similar applies with this situation. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure on that there one, to be fair. You would imagine that they would have some kind of compensation. You would imagine that there is something in the contract or some kind of insurance took out in players. You really would do. I think I'm not 100% sure. I think there was something about Cardiff City when when obviously there was the tragedy with I think it was Emilio Sala. I think there was something about them trying to cash out on a policy or trying to cash out money or something. There was something about that at the time. I would need to go and look at it in some more detail, but certainly, look, I wouldn't be surprised. Do we have protection against players refusing to apologise and finding themselves cast out from the squad? I don't know. I don't know if that could, if we would have went that specific or anything with it, but I really don't know. I hope we have. I mean, but we I hope we have, but I doubt it as well at the same time. Ultimately, look, we were paying for Mason Greenwood's wages for a very, very long time. I still think we're paying the majority of them, even though he's on loan at Getafe right now. Daniel just goes, I'm a better footballer than Sancho. I mean, look, I've never questioned Sancho's talent, but it's another one of these players. It's just another one that he's just not going to fulfill it for whatever reason. The potential, what they once had, the ability, the promise, what they could have been in the game, it's just not going to happen. And that's it's frustration. It's disappointing, but ultimately we've been stung again. And I think what's worrying really is if we look at it long term and we look at the full picture of Jadon Sancho, there has always been question marks over discipline, over commitment issues. We've seen this at City with Pep Guardiola. We've seen it at Borussia Dortmund. These are long-standing issues, and we seemingly seem to brush them under the carpet. We seem to bring a player in, and we weren't quite sure how to use them either. Stefan goes, yeah, remember the Cardiff paid the transfer fee, and sadly the lad died in the plane crash. Yeah, there was something about that as well. I think what it was? I think they tried to get the money back out of the club that bought him from. I think that was the upshot of that story. Chatsport says Sancho, Casemiro, Varane, Van de Beek, Martial can all leave in January. I would agree with that statement absolutely. I think most players can go, and I don't think they're a big miss either. I think Sancho, look, he hasn't played since the 3rd of September. Casemiro, I think we'll probably end up keeping him until the end of the season. I think Varane's maybe the same. Van de Beek's gone already. Martial, if anybody's interested, they can have him. But again, I don't know if they will or not. You know, they'll take a look at it. The guy even went to Sevilla on loan and didn't do anything there. So I'm not too sure what the plan will be regarding Anthony Martial. I'm not too sure if we're going to try to move him on, if we can find a buyer. Look, we know that John Murta was in Saudi Arabia trying to line up deals and trying to sell these players this week. To nobody's surprise whatsoever, John Murta returned without any success. That's no surprise to me. It's no surprise to you. We've seen this so many times with John Murta turning up, flying away for a couple of days and coming back empty-handed. He did it twice with Frankie de Jong. He did it with Adrien Rabiot, and now he's done it again with Saudi Arabia. But if those deals can be done, it would be good for us. I think in terms of the players who might go to Saudi, I think Martial is one potentially. I feel like that might be one, because I don't think anybody else in Europe will take a big punt on the guy. Varane and Casemiro, I'm positive they would love to have, but it's whether or not they want to make that step at this moment in time. Because look, once you go there, it's at that age you're pretty much done at the top level. It's like when you go to the MLS, not very many players come back from there as well. So it depends. If they still think they have something left in the tank, they might try to go to a European club, maybe to Italy, maybe to Germany or something like that. That could be options, but I would be surprised personally. Stephanie goes, Murta is on his jollies again. Yeah, look, the man loves holidays, expensed to Manchester United, but I don't know how many times it's been that he's just gone to try watch players or do deals and come back completely empty-handed. You know, he could have got Rabiot twice, and we never got him. He went twice to Barcelona for Frankie de Jong. He went by himself, and then the next time he brought Richard Arnold with him, and they came back empty-handed. And then there was this latest time with Saudi Arabia. So John Murta, he gets around. he's a bit of a globe trotter. He's probably picking up those sky miles, but I mean, he's not really getting the job done either, is he? And I think that's a big frustration for all Manchester United fans. I think that's why we want rid of him. I think that's why we want an Ashworth. I think that's why we want a Paul Mitchell coming in. And I think that's a much better strategy and a much better way to work things out long term, and a better plan is having someone like Ashworth overseeing the entire project, calling all the shots. Paul Mitchell looking at recruitment, players coming in. Ashworth setting policies, looking for what they want to do. It's going to be more than a one-man job. It has to be at this moment in time. And look, there's talk of us even bringing in more people. It might be Ashworth with Friedman and Mitchell working alongside him, with Blanc over the top of him, with Brailsford and Radcliffe ahead of Blanc, and then that could be the entire structure. Look, it will be interesting. I'm positive we're going to get much more information on that in the next couple of weeks and the next couple of months, and we'll analyse it all in detail, what it's likely to look at. And certainly I think we're going to try pack it out and bring some genuine top quality people in. We're not going to have people like Miles Murda. We're not going to have Miles Murda at the club anymore, hopefully. We haven't got Pork Pie Richard Arnold either. So these are all good things for me as well. So I'm happy with that there one. I mean, look, when you have a CEO of your own football club running to the press, spreading malicious rumours about the players, I mean, this isn't what we want to see. Chatsport says Tammy Abraham, 30 million next season. I mean, we might look. We were at one point we were interested in Tammy Abraham. You know, we definitely had a maintained interest in Tammy Abraham, and it never really popped out. Stephanie says watch along Saturday. Of course, yes. We'll be a watch along on Saturday. Probably gonna be live tomorrow as well. I'm now thankfully finished with work until the new year, so I'm gonna have plenty of live streams, plenty of content and stuff coming out, because I want to pump the numbers up. Because really, I don't think over the last couple of months with work and one thing or another, I've really got the numbers that I wanted out. You know, pretty much over the summer, because basically daily lives and maybe 1 or 2 videos a week, with some shorts as well. So I think I might try to push those numbers up. I think we'll do all the watch-alongs. We'll do these normal streams as well, looking at the news and everything coming up. I might do some more videos as well, just so I can work on them when not live and stuff. And yeah, I mean, short videos, we'll get some more of them done as well. Definitely want to try to get more in here. Bourne said the City treble winning stars like Rodri and Ake are getting less than 200 a week, while the Xbox playing machines are getting 300. It's amazing. Yeah, look, I mean, I hate to say it, I really do, but you have a properly run club and a badly run club. When City might be one of the best run clubs in the world, and we're run by a bunch of clowns and a bunch of jokers. Definitely goes. Any morning shows planned? I might try it. I might do a couple. See how that there one goes. Because I think I'm going to be working at home for a bit as well. Across from January, I think I'm basically being put onto like a new project and working like 2 or 3 days in the office a week, and then like two days at home, and then switch the next week. So maybe on those days where I'm working from home, maybe I could do a morning live if anyone would be interested. I mean, I could take like an early lunch, maybe around 10 o'clock, or I could go early, maybe at like 8 o'clock in the morning, whatever you guys want. I'll run some polls, because I do want to change some things up, because I think of just the channel itself has just been in a bit of a rut, really, for quite a while, and I think I do want to change that there. So it is something I want to fix, and something I want to improve upon. We'll definitely have to make some changes. I'll run a poll or something on it, or maybe put a community post up tomorrow at some point. If you guys want to comment on it, let me know video ideas, what type of content and stuff we can do. Want to get as much stuff out there that you guys want to see as possible. Because look, I mean, it is kind of frustrating as well, because summer is really good. We were getting maybe like 2,000 or 3,000 people on a stream, and now we're getting maybe like 100 or 200, and a lot of it is YouTube's fault. Admittedly, I think that's a big frustration, because a lot of things are out of my own hand. But if we put more content out there, then it's bound to pick up some more eyes. Stephanie goes 2 shows a day will definitely help with numbers. Yeah, that might be a plan as well. See, look, at the minute, what I try to do as well is I look when the other big creators are going live. So like I look at United Stand, I'll look at People's TV, I'll look at Stretford Paddock, really the big United channels. I think United Stand went early tonight, which probably explains why we've got 83 views across the stream. I think that'll probably explain that there one, because most people would have went there anyway. Because normally they do an 8 o'clock live, so that's why I did 7 in the first place. But I can definitely work around that. We'll definitely try to get some more content out there, some more shows, some more ideas as well. And I would also like to get you guys on it as well. And that's something I want to get running on Discord in the new year. I think People's TV do a thing as well, kind of like on a match day. It's like a match day call-in show right before the match actually kicks off. So like we could do that right before the watch along and stuff, and get you guys involved as well. I think that's what we'll go for. I'll probably put a community post up maybe tonight or maybe tomorrow. I'll probably put it on tomorrow morning, just because I know a lot of the world is gonna be like nighttime at the minute. So I think I'll do for that there one. Okay, guys. So with that in mind, I think we're gonna drop off here anyway. So thanks so much for watching. Hope everyone enjoys West Ham versus Liverpool. Let's hope West Ham can knock the Scousers out of the Carabao Cup tonight. That could be a nice little treat as well, I'm sure. If you guys are new, please consider hitting the sub button as well. Thanks so much for the support, guys. And I'll catch everyone in the next one. Should be live tomorrow. Again, same time, around about 7 o'clock. And keep an eye out for that community post as well in the morning. If you guys want to let me know what content you want to see, what video ideas, let me know, of course, as well. Thanks so much for watching. Really appreciate it, guys. And I'll catch everyone in the next one.